Greetings. So I am here today with the pup Binksy, who's down here and may pop up on the occasion. I'm here today to discuss my trip to Casablanca. So just a little disclaimer, I was only there for like 23 and a half hours. So I had basically one day, well not basically, that is a day. I had a day there and it was a layover before my final destination of Barcelona. I'll discuss that in another trip, but I kind of wanted to keep this short and concise. So if you wanted information about Casablanca, that's what you got, and you didn't have to hear about Barcelona if it really wasn't of interest. That'll be another video, and hopefully that will be something of interest to you. So I can give my perspective and my suggestions or tips on a trip to Casablanca, but one for a short period of time. So just to kind of start from the beginning and get to the end, I flew Royal Air Moroc. The food was incredible. It was, I want to say, a 6-hour flight from JFK. I live in New York. So it was about a 6-hour flight. I went the first week of May, and I ended up booking an Airbnb. I chose Airbnb because it was something that I had been interested in trying for quite some time, and since I was only going to be in my location for a day, I decided that what better time to do it. I ended up booking the, what was it called? Green Oasis. I'll definitely put a link down there because of all the places that I've stayed there, and my hotel resort in Bermuda are honestly the only two places that I would ever go back again myself. I highly recommend staying with Christina. She was my host at AirBnB. She was absolutely incredible. Very welcoming, very warm, and I felt comfortable in her home. So I got there, I want to say 9 in the morning. I inadvertently gave her the wrong arrival time, so thankfully she'd given me the contact information for the taxi driver that she arranged to have pick me up from the airport, Yusuf. Hi Yusuf. He was also a really great asset to this trip because he made my getting to and from the airport a breeze. So I contacted Yusuf, who wasn't able to pick me up at the earlier time, and sent his brother, who was there like 5 minutes after. So guys, thank you very much. The coordinated airport pickup made for a big difference, because when you land in a foreign country, you don't understand the language, you've never been there before, it can be a little stressful when you either just woke up or you just want to go to sleep. Trying to figure out how to get to a bed is the last thing I want to deal with. So I try to definitely consider what my transportation accommodations are going to be from the hotel to the place that I'm staying. From the airport to the place that I'm staying. So that worked out nicely. I got to Christina's house, I want to say maybe 10:30, 11. When I arrived, she had fresh Moroccan pancakes waiting for me. She prepared coffee for me. I had 3 types of preserves. I had bread. And mind you, this was in her in her garden backyard. It was absolutely incredible. So I had a very warm reception, and she allowed me to eat in peace, and went upstairs, took a shower, and took a nap, and I stayed by maybe 1:30. We were on the way. So in total, we walked about 7.23 miles, and I know that because I checked with one of the apps on my phone. So we had a really full day. We started by driving into, and I went on a tour with Christina. She was, again, accommodating enough to personally give me a tour. I did pay for the tour. It turned out to be about $80, which is more than reasonable considering how personalized the tour was, because I basically, when I was communicating with her through Airbnb, I explained to her I really just wanted to see an open market and Hassan II Mosque. So that's what we did. we drove into the city. We parked there. While she looked for parking, I went out and visited a museum that had some really beautiful artifacts. Visited the museum really quickly while she was parking, and then we made our trip to, and then we went to basically the city center. We walked around. She pointed out different pieces of new and old architecture, buildings that the new king was having restored and was making available to the people of Casablanca. She gave me some history about the city and different regimes, and what were some positives and negatives of each. And she was a wealth of information, so it wasn't like I was just walking around with, like, what can I tell you about New York? I've lived here my entire life, but I'm not exactly able to give you any real historical context about a lot of the stuff that I can point out to you if we were to walk around my city, right? So it was, again, very much worth the money that I spent. We walked around, we saw their municipal buildings, we stopped at their courthouse. I always like seeing courthouses when I go abroad. What else did we do? We did, oh my gosh, their post office. I don't know if it's the only post office, but this post office, absolutely incredible. The detail in the design of the building, just breathtaking. So I greatly enjoyed just stepping in the post office. We then went to their open market, they call it the Medina, and it has anything you could possibly need. There are different sections in different areas. It stretches for a long span. I can't really tell you. There's like, you can look on the outside of it and see it looks basically like, I guess, a strip mall, but then if you're on the inside, it's just a lot of booths of different, it's kind of like, oh man, if anybody's from New York, it kind of made me think of like old school Gertz, like from the early 2000s. You just have booth here, booth there, booth there, but it's outdoors, right? So you have all types of things. You've got goods on one side, and then you have food. So you have clothes, you can buy souvenirs, you can buy regular clothes, you can buy, this is really nothing you can't buy. What else did we do? We also stopped for coffee a lot, which was perfect because she found out that I enjoyed coffee, and when I tell you, honey, the coffee in Morocco, the coffee in Senegal, because there was a Senegalese area, and I had my first taste of Senegalese coffee, hands down the best coffee I've ever had in my life. That was one of the stops that we made. Thankfully, my host knew exactly where she was going, so we were able to see a lot, stop at points of interest to me personally. What else did we do? The way it's set up is pretty interesting. So you've got one section that's got like goods where you find clothes and housewares and tangible items that you possibly want. And then they also have a section for food. So, oh man, and there was this like beautiful area of flowers also and plants. I'm a plant lady. I have them all around my house, and I really wish I could have bought some flowers and plants on, but customs and such, right? So we went to the food area. The meat section smells terrible because there's no refrigeration. And that is part of the reason why food is so cheap, because it's got to go. The turnover has to move. They can't keep stuff there long, so they want you to be able to buy it. And that was another point that she made, that even their small homeless population, because apparently their family structure will take care of those that are without a home, like they'll take you in. You can have a household with numerous people in it. Even their poor eat well, because the food is so fresh and it is readily available and it's very inexpensive. So even those that don't make a lot still eat very well. And I wish that were the case for New York, where even our homeless population could eat and, survive, but the world, right? So One fun thing to note is the motorbikes. They come from anywhere. So while you're walking around, especially like in the Medina area, they drive straight through the street because that's where you're walking. You're walking basically in the street. There aren't really any sidewalks on the inside of the Medina. So depending on where you are and how the area your setup is in, you have to watch out for motorbikes. And when you hear them bitches, look, step to the side, and don't get killed, right? The general traffic for Casablanca, for the most part, they drive on the right-hand side of the street like we do in the States. There are traffic lights, but there don't really seem to be dedicated lanes, if you will. It seems like just more of a general flow to how the traffic moves. You can kind of, I've seen people turn from the right lane, like make a left-hand turn from the right lane. So if you're gonna drive there, Godspeed, be careful. But of course it works for the people there. There's, even crossing the street is quite treacherous. There are people there, they don't stop. So if someone stops for you, it's kind of like a big deal. So people generally just wait, say thank you. So it's, the traffic just, pedestrians don't have the right of way basically. So watch out for that. What else? We then went to visit the Hassan II Mosque, which is, I want to say maybe like, it's the largest mosque in Morocco, and it's maybe like the 13th largest in the world or something like that. It was absolutely beautiful. It was so large, yet comprised of such small, intricate details. When you look at the way the mosaics were put together, you know that those were like hand cut. And then to realize that each one of these little designs was pieced together throughout, and then you look at the entirety of the building and realize how much attention was paid to detail is just, it's magnificent. It's an incredible sight. It was beautiful to be there. It sits right on the Atlantic Ocean. Like if you're coming in on a boat, if you're passing by on a boat, it can look like the building's just floating in the water. It was purposely constructed, and it was an incredible experience to be able to see it. It's another one of those beautiful ceilings because the detail is very particular, and to realize how much particular detail there is across this entire massive building is like, it's something else. It's something else. So that's essentially what I did for the trip. I did the open market and the mosque. That's all I really wanted to see. What I would suggest for visiting places when you have a short amount of time is definitely booking a tour. Exploring the area that you're in is a great way to feel a part of the culture and to get an authentic experience. However, when you have a short amount of time, I feel like it's best, if you're going to book a tour, do it with a local. This way you can, and my host had lived there for 27 years, so she's a local at this point. This way you get your authentic experience, however you can maximize the minimal amount of time that you do have in an area. So I would definitely suggest booking a tour. In terms of what I wore, Morocco is a rather progressive Muslim country, so short sleeve shirts are fine. I heard tank tops were fine, but I'm pretty respectful in New York. I'm very American, so when I was packing, I was realizing how much shoulder action I have and how many crop tops and low V-necks and stuff, so I definitely didn't want to go out there, dressed inappropriately. I wasn't sure. I knew that I really wouldn't have to cover my hair because I'm a tourist and I was only going to be there for a short amount of time, and I came prepared if I did go into the mosque, which wasn't an option. It was closed, and I don't even think that it's open to non-Muslims anyway. I'm not 100% sure, but I know going in wasn't an option while I visited there. but I decided to cover my shoulders, cover my arms. I wore a tank top, but I had like a chambray button up over my clothes. So the weather was perfect for me. It was like a smooth 73 degrees. I was not hot, I was not cold. I was A+, A1. I couldn't have asked for a better day for me to have been there. So I would say, just because I'm a low-key person in my regular life, I like to do the same thing when I travel abroad, especially considering I travel solo. I never want to draw more attention to myself than necessary. So as much accessorizing and, you know, cute and sex appeal as I would like to do in New York, I'm not going to do that abroad. I like to be cute. I like to be dressed, fashionably, but I try to do it with tourism in mind, where I feel I'm going to stick out as a black woman in some places, and then as soon as I open my mouth, I'm obviously an American. So I try not to overdo it, if you will. So I also wore pants, like I wore a pair of joggers. So I knew that knees, shoulders definitely should be covered. Did that, not a problem. I had to just, pull together an outfit where that was comfortable for me, because also I was coming from the airport. So I stressed packing for this trip more than I should have, if you will. Actually, no, not more than I should have. I think I did an appropriate level of stressing considering what my general summer attire looks like. I'm usually in cutoffs and a tank top. That wasn't one of mine. So I pulled together a bunch of outfits where I could throw on the chambray. I had most of my jeans that I can fit are cut up. So I wore leggings to the airport, and this way I wouldn't feel comfortable when I got out of the airport, and I wasn't overly long. I wore like leggings and a tunic top. And when I got there, I was airporty, where you just feel kind of because you're sitting in this like recycled air the entire for all these hours. So thankfully, I did go, showered, I changed, and then I put on the joggers, the tank top, and the chambray shirt on top. So I was completely comfortable with what I had on. I didn't feel like I was being disrespectful of anyone's culture, and beautiful weather for it. What else? Other than that, I didn't feel like I stood out at all. I don't feel like anyone noticed me. I felt like I was able to stay under the radar. I didn't feel offended at any given point. I didn't feel like anybody, like, I live in New York, so I'm surrounded by Muslims. I have Muslim friends. I have worked with Muslims, but I am very disappointed to say that I don't know much about Muslim culture or Islamic faith. So I tried to do like a crash course Googling things that I should know when visiting a Muslim country, and it was never a fear of going there. It was never a fear of Muslim people. It was never a fear of Islamic culture, as some people may assume Americans have because of our leader. I can't even call him a leader. Because of our president. It's not a leader. So it's not that. It's just I never would want to one, embarrass myself, because as an American, I do take pride in not fitting the current stereotype of Americans based on what foreign locations think of us. So I would never want to embarrass myself, my family, my culture as a Black American at that, by being disrespectful to anyone else's culture. I've also been raised with a respect for other cultures, just because I have respect for myself and my own culture. So I would love to portray that in all of my travels to other cultures, just an open acceptance and respect for things that I may not be knowledgeable in, but am curious about. So I just didn't want to go someplace that I was unfamiliar with and disrespect to people that live there. It's kind of like if you go visit somebody's church, you may not be a big fan of suits and ties, but out of respect for the people of that church, you ain't gonna show up in a sweatsuit. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So overall, I had an incredible experience in Casablanca. I definitely have pictures posted on my Instagram, so feel free to follow me there. I'm not really big on Twitter, I'm not really big on Snapchat. Facebook is mostly family stuff, so you can skip that if you like. But my Instagram is where I do post a lot of my travel pictures, so I've got a lot of great photos from Casablanca, Barcelona, France, Andorra, soon to be Qatar, and I also have St. Martin, St. Bart's photos. I've been doing a lot of traveling, so I'm hoping to have a lot more content for you guys about traveling. Apparently, packing light is as big a deal as I thought it was before I was able to pack light, so I'm going to probably do a packing video so that you can see how easy it is to get plenty of options into one carry-on. I only travel for lengths of a week or less because of work. I don't really get much time off in one consecutive sitting, if you will. So definitely follow my Instagram. I've got some great pictures there. I'll be posting updates about new travels and when I do have new posts. And if you have any other questions, you can definitely drop them underneath any of the pictures. Drop them in the comments. Shoot me an email, whatever your fancy may be. Make sure to like and subscribe my YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date with all my new travels and with my past travels, just in case it's someplace you're gonna go. So, hope you enjoyed my quick little blurb on Casablanca. I hope that you do decide to go. It's a beautiful city. I, will also do another video, and I'm hoping that saying it out loud brings it to fruition, because sometimes it's really hard to just sit down and record and then sit down and edit all of this footage. But I want to do another video about how I book my traveling. With all these trips I've taken, I've learned a lot about myself, and I've also learned a lot about traveling in general. So I have quite a bit of really helpful tips and little pieces of information I've picked up along the way. So if there's anything in particular you want to see about traveling, or anything in particular about, now I'm not like an all-inclusive, an all-encompassing wealth of information about Casablanca. I spent a couple hours there, but I did have a great tour guide, so I feel like I did pick up more than I would have picked up if I tried to walk the city by myself. So based on the information that I have given you and photos, if there's anything you think I can help you with, of course, shoot me a question about that, but let's not get carried away. I don't know it all, and Google is your friend. So yeah, like, subscribe, catch you on the next video, guys.